Hello, this lesson is on unit conversions. First, what we're going to do is we're going to review our times conversion and also our metric conversion, and then we're going to go to the tricky part, which is converting speed. In grade 11 physics, you'll be converting speed a lot, and this is not a common conversion that you have learned in the past. So let's quickly review the time units first. Everyone knows that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. And of course, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, and 24 hours makes 1 day, and typically 30 days makes 1 month. However, there are certain, obviously, exceptions. If I specify a certain month, then you have to use that month. So for example, if I use the example of February, most people will write 28 days. Unless it's a leap year, it'll be 29. But another example I typically use is the month of December, because everyone knows that New Year's Eve is on December 31st, and so that has 31 days. For the metric system, that's pretty straightforward. Hopefully, you've been reviewing that for years and years, but basically you have the base unit, which is meters. And let's suppose that you want to convert to kilometers. So that means you need 1,000 meters, and that will be 1 kilometer. Let's continue. If you want a megameter, you need quite a few, a million. And if you need a gigameter, then you need a billion. And instead of writing a billion, this is much easier to write, which is times 10 to negative 9. Let's go the other way. Let's say you want to represent a millimeter. So if it's a millimeter, it's 0.001 or to the negative 3. If you want a micrometer, that will be 10 to the negative 6. And then if you want a nanometer, that would be 10 to the negative 9. All right, so you'll notice the metric system, it goes up by 3s, which is very convenient. Now, some of you remember centimeters. That's not part of the metric system, but it is a unit that we often use. And so the the centimeter is this or to the negative 2 times 10 to the negative 2. So it doesn't matter whether or not you use decimals or you can use scientific notation. They're both accepted. All right, the next unit conversion we're going to do, which is the emphasis of this lesson, is that you're going to convert 1 meter per second to kilometers per hour. Now, most people understand what kilometers per hour is because that's how fast you would go. For example, if you're driving 90 kilometers per hour, everybody kind of knows what that feels like, or 60 kilometers per hour. But in physics, we often use everything in meters per second, so we have to convert that a lot. And it's a good idea to get a feel of how fast is 1 meter per second. 1 meter per second is like walking 1 meter in 1 second. And how fast is that in kilometers? Well, that's a good question. So we're going to use our unit conversion that we did from before, which is over here, to help us with converting this speed. First, what I'll do is I'll do the easy one, which is the metric one. Let's convert meters to kilometers. So what I like to do is I like to multiply things by 1. And you do that often in math. You're going to multiply things equaling to 1 so it doesn't change the value of the number. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply it by 1. But notice I'm going to change my units while doing that. So here I'm going to multiply it by 1, but it's the value of 1. So for example, I have meters and I want kilometers. So therefore, I must cancel my meters. So for every 1 kilometer, there is 1,000 meters. And so when you multiply through this, yes, you are multiplying. The value of this is 1, but let's multiply the numerator all the way across and the denominator all the way across. And this is what you get. If I multiply 1 meters times 1 kilometers, I'm going to get 1 meters and a kilometer. I know it's a weird unit. This is a step I usually skip. Divided by, this is an imaginary 1 there, seconds times 1,000 meters. So this will be 1,000 seconds and a meter. Now typically I don't write that. Typically what you guys do in math class is you like to cancel common things like this. If there's one unit of measurement that can be canceled out from the numerator and the denominator, you do that. So we're going to cancel those out. And so essentially this is what you got. So this is my new unit. So right now this is a speed of 1,000th kilometer per second, which kind of makes sense because you know that this is 1 meters per second. So if you want to do it in kilometers, you're going to go only 1,000th of that in a second. Okay, so this here is your new value. Let's convert here the hours, okay, the seconds to hours. So let's do that. 1 kilometer divided by 1,000 seconds. Okay, I got to get hours. So you'll notice that seconds is in the denominator. So I really need seconds in the numerator. And let's take it nice and slow. We know that there are 60 seconds in a minute. So let's put a minute right there. So in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. This is still a value of 1. Okay, so we didn't change the value yet. Let's do it again. Let's cancel out the minutes. So you know that in 1 minute, or sorry, in 60 minutes, there is 1 hour. So there you go. In 1 minute, or sorry, 60 minutes, there is 1 hour. Okay, so let's make sure we got our units right. So in 60 seconds, there's 1 minute, and in 60 minutes, there is 1 hour. Okay. Let's cancel out some values because we don't need everything. So cancel out the seconds, perfect. Cancel out the minutes, perfect. We're going to multiply everything across. 60 times 60 is 3,600 kilometers. And going across at the bottom is 1,000 hours. So there you go. So the value or the conversion is 3.6 kilometers per hour. So if you were to walk 1 meter per second, you are in fact traveling 3.6 kilometers per hour. And that's how you convert. Let's do another example. We're going to go from kilometers per hour back to meters per second. It's the same technique. So again, I'm going to do kilometers per hour. Let's do the kilometers first because most people find that the easiest. So I need meters on top because that's what I want, and we're going to cancel out kilometers at the bottom. So that means for every 1 kilometer, there is 1,000 meters. Okay, let's do the time. The time we want in hours. So let's convert it to minutes. So I want to cancel out my hours. So because it's at the bottom, I should have it at the top to cancel it out. And we have minutes. So remember, for every 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. Let's cancel that some more because we actually want seconds, not minutes. So I'm going to put minutes at the top to cancel out my minutes from the bottom, and I'm going to have seconds. So for every 1 minute, there is 60 seconds. Let's multiply everything through. When you multiply everything through, I'm going to do this so you'll notice a really cool, neat trick. 90, okay, times, we have 1,000 over here over 3,600 over here. Okay, if you want to multiply it right through, you can and get this if you like to save you, but I just wanted to show you something really, really cool. And if you multiply these together is 25. Okay, let's look at units. So if we look at units, we have the kilometers cancel out. We have the meters, they stay, okay, good. We have the hours that cancel out. and we have minutes that cancel out. So the only things that are left is really we have meters over here and seconds, which is our units over here. So that will be meters over seconds or meters per second. Okay, here's the reason why I want to show you this. You'll notice you've seen this before, have you not? Well, in the last example, you will notice that, oh, look, there it is, except it's flipped, okay, because we're reversing it. Every time you go from one way to the next, you will do this ratio. If you go back, you'll do the other ratio. It's always the same ratio, okay? And there's that ratio. So if you were traveling at 90 kilometers per hour, that means that is 25 meters every second. That's how fast you will go. All right, let's take a look at that ratio. 36,000 over 1,000 is really 3.6. Okay, or if I do that other ratio, 1,000 divided by 3,600 is also 3.6, but it's 1 over 3.6, or you're dividing in a sense. So this is the final shortcut. It's a trick, all right? So you could do all these crazy unit conversions like this, or you can just memorize the conversion factor, which is anytime you go from meters per second to kilometers per hour, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply 3.6. But if you want to go backwards, like so, then you're going to divide by 3.6, because essentially 1 over 3.6 means you're dividing. And so that's how you convert from meters per second to kilometers per hour. All right, here's a really cool sheet for you to practice. These are just straight on conversions that you learned in primary school. There is the actual conversion if you wanted to know using scientific notation, or if you want to use decimals, there's the decimal or fraction form of it. If you flip to the other side or the other page, here is a conversion practice for just various times. Okay, there are certain ones that have speed in them. Just watch for it. Okay, they're not all the same. Like, for example, this one here, the one in bold, is the one that I covered, but this one over here is not a typical one that I would cover. Now, I have to be fairly honest with you. The only unit conversions I usually stick to during a quiz, a test, or an exam is the one that I covered, the one with 3.6. So basically, any questions here that are in bold, so that would be letters J, M, and N. The rest is not typical, but they're good just so you know how to do it. And that's it. If you have any questions, please email me, and good luck. Bye now.